Couple of newsworthy notes from the press conference. They talked about this being the largest arena gate in WWE history, so that obviously is non-stadium.
Right. So it was over $3 million. They averaged $300 a ticket.
$300 a ticket. Holy smokes.
You know, the Glasgow show's going to beat it.
Wow.
Yeah, the Glasgow show, the ticket prices are insane for the Glasgow show.
He said they'd been asked about returning, and he said Nick Khan sent a text during the show with the word stadium. So,
they should. They should. They had 11,600 people. I mean, like, they sold out, pretty quick. I mean, they should try. They probably would do real well. And there's a stadium right across the street from where they ran. So why not? I could see, all of these things. It was funny when Levesque was talking about, like, we wanted to do this. And it's like they're going to go where somebody pays to bring them in. Every one of these shows, it's like he's going like, how you get us to come, be loud. And it's like, no, you get your government to pay.
Oh, yes, you be loud with your pocketbook.
Yeah, the government to pay.
Yes.
And it's like, he was really pushing because Khan, the mayor, not Nick Khan and not Tony, the mayor of London, who just won re-election, really wants to bring in Mania. So it's just like, show us the money type of thing, right? That's what it pretty much was.
And they also asked about Drew Gulak and asked if it had anything to do with Rousey, and he just basically said he was not released. His contract just was not renewed. But nobody bothered to ask, well, why wasn't it renewed?
No, they couldn't. Okay, here's what happened. The press conference was over, and they were 4 minutes short because he had, he wanted to be off when the Kentucky Derby thing started, when they were going to make the announcement of WrestleMania for Vegas. So because he had 4 more minutes, he goes, hey, I'll take another question. And that was like the first actual question, like real legitimate question that they got. And it was like, and he goes up, PW Insider and Fightful said that, Drew Gulak was fired or whatever, released because of the Ronda Rousey thing. And then he just goes, he never addressed Rousey and just goes, he wasn't released, his contract wasn't renewed, which it's whatever, it's semantic, it's the same thing. But then he throws the shot in of, you should probably listen to more credible sources. And it was just like, the guy can't help himself, they WWE quickly apologized to everyone, to them, but privately, not publicly. He didn't apologize. Although I shouldn't say that, because I think he actually called Sean Sapp and probably quietly apologized, or whatever he said, we don't know, because it was basically he told Sean Sapp, like, this is off the record. But, and then, they called, whoever, they called PW Insider and all that. And it's like, it was a bullshit comment, and shouldn't have said it. If Tony Khan would have said it, the people would have gone completely nuts, insane. But, he can get away with it because, everyone's, they're hot and everyone's kissing up to him. And, that's the basic gist of it. And the one thing I got to say is like, I find it actually an insult to your intelligence to try and say that, and he never said Ronda Rousey had nothing to do with it. However, we did start seeing stuff of, Drew Gulak was this and Drew Gulak was that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, the timing makes it completely obvious. The minute that thing happened, the guy was taken off TV. When he was taken off TV, I was going like, is he done? And it's like, the answer was, he's not officially done, but he's not coming back. It's if you can't tell that it was the Ronda Rousey thing, but because the investigation wasn't conclusive, they can't say that. But the whole thing is that, they're afraid the fan base might turn, get mad. She said this in a public forum. Many people know it. It became a big story. And he's a guy with a main roster contract, so he's getting paid, reasonably well. I mean, not giant money, but much bigger money than an NXT guy. And they have no plans for him on the main roster. He's just going to be an NXT guy in the Catch Club. And the reality is he was all over TV. The Catch crew was not being phased out. He was not being phased out. It was just like the decision was made. Obviously, timing is perfect to take him off. And everything else now is just kind of like, I find it kind of like an insult to your intelligence to even try to tell you that, oh, he was whatever he was, like whatever these stories are that suddenly came out on Drew Gulak. It's like, you know what happened. They can't say it. But, it's quite obvious what happened. And, it's one of those things where, like, if you go in there and the idea of perhaps something that is, it's not like it's nothing, but it's certainly nothing compared to what has been done in the past that nobody's gotten fired for. But it's a different time and a different day, and it's Drew Gulak, and it's not somebody else who's a bigger star. And so for all those reasons, there's a different standard. The lower you are on the totem pole, the less it takes to get you fired. And this one wasn't something quietly that came out somewhere. This was something from the voice of a star, a woman star with a big voice, and it's just like it was the way it was handled. And so anyway, that's the Drew Gulak thing. But, him running down those outlets, I thought was, I guess, it's a reality check to people who think differently. But it's like, that's the deal. I think he said without thinking a couple of things, and they kind of had to backtrack, but he's not going to publicly apologize because that's a sign of weakness. So they did that, and
shouldn't the apology be as public as the disrespect? Didn't somebody say that at one point?
Well, that's punk. But no. Realistically, like
yeah.
he could apologize for it, but he's not going to.
No.
Or maybe he will. I should say he was not going to. I can't think for him, but he should. He should. But it is. I mean, here's the reality of all of that. It's like all these people. Like I have no false illusions of anyone when they, how they react to me and everything like that. As far as when everyone's nice, it's like I'm doing my job, and they're doing their job, and I got nothing personal about any of it. It's fine, But a lot of these people think that, like, oh, if we're super nice to them and blah blah, this is what they think. Unless you totally kiss their ass, they're not gonna. They don't deep down. Do they like it? No, but they're going to play the game, especially now because there's two companies, and when there's two companies, you have to. I mean, it's the same thing as before when WCW was around. Man, when WCW was beating WWE, there was nobody nicer to me than WWE and Vince McMahon. When this tail, perfect example, the movie Beyond the Mat. Okay, originally that was going to be a WCW movie. And then WCW took the lead, and they didn't want the movie because we're in first. We don't like when we're in second. We want any kind of a mainstream movie, right? And then as soon as they were in the lead, they didn't want it so much. And then all of a sudden, WWE wanted it, right? And then by the time it comes out, WWE's in the lead, and they hated the movie, And that's like for everyone who wants to know about how this really works. That's probably a good story to understand. It's like, whoever is down the most, although this situation is more interesting because, again, they're not looking for enemies. Unlike Vince, who probably didn't care as much, but it's Nick Khan's company. Nick Khan's a sports guy. Nick Khan's a media guy. He's not going to make enemies with the media. But, sometimes things slip, and Paul let it slip.